This is so disgusting. Meghan Markle is already cashing in on her royal return before the royal return has even been entirely agreed. And this should be a major warning to King Charles why he needs to start listening to Prince William on these matters. At the same time, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is biting back. And I'm going to tell you how, because of course, in the true style of the Princess of Wales, she is doing so in a classy and subtle manner. But I see it and I love it. So let me take you through this. Firstly, almost immediately, as the headline started to be leaked last week that Meghan was going to be back in the United Kingdom with the two children against the wishes of William and Catherine, she knew that there was a commercial opportunity and timed to go out at this exact...
She posted a wine at the same week she was supposed to be mourning a family reunion, and nobody was supposed to notice. But we noticed. Meghan Markle had barely let the ink dry on the rumor of a royal return before she was already monetizing it. Not after the visit, not after confirmation. Before a single flight had been booked, before King Charles had officially extended the olive branch, before Prince William had even been consulted. Meghan was already in the marketplace, using the whispers of a royal reunion to push product. And the product, jam, wine, chocolates. Things sitting in warehouses right now with expiration dates quietly ticking down.
Sauvignon Blanc to open and enjoy together. Bright, refreshing, and made for lingering conversations, and for your hostess, a thoughtful gift to enjoy beyond the evening. Our favourites gifted pairs beautifully with the season, featuring a giftable box of our fruit spreads they can savour in the days ahead, along with chocolates, perfect for sharing around the table that night. A simple gesture and a way to say thank you. Well, we know you have to sell your rotting product, which is literally going out of date as we speak in warehouses, but don't you dare use our royal family to do so, as according to Taz pointed out. That poisonous viper. She's now done a post talking about summer invitations. This is her doing an attention grab with all this nonsense regarding them coming to the UK. She's pushing the story about the invite now coming from the king. It's one big game to her. But royal YouTube sensation P. Diner, I would argue it's more than one big game.
This is the story of how a woman who built her entire brand on authenticity, vulnerability, and love turned a potential family reconciliation into a sponsored post, and what it reveals about the increasingly desperate war being fought behind the palace gates. A war that King Charles may be losing before it even begins. Stay with us, because what happened next is something the palace communications team is praying you never connect the dots on. Let's go back to last week. Headlines were just starting to break. Sources close to Buckingham Palace had begun leaking that Meghan and Harry might be returning to the United Kingdom with their children. For the first time in years, the royalist world exploded. Commentators were divided. Supporters of the crown were alarmed. And inside Kensington Palace, Prince William was reportedly furious. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not like this. Not without his approval, not without a framework, not without an NDA, not without, at the very minimum, an acknowledgement of the damage Harry and Meghan had already caused to the institution William has devoted his entire life to protecting. But while that debate raged, while royal watchers argued and palace insiders scrambled, Meghan Markle did something extraordinary. She posted a wine ad. Not just any wine ad. A carefully crafted, emotionally engineered piece of commercial content dressed up as a summer lifestyle moment. The language was deliberately warm, deliberately intimate. Summer invitations have a way of arriving all at once. Think about that sentence for a moment. In the same news cycle where the world was debating whether she'd received an invitation back into the royal fold, Meghan was posting about invitations. It wasn't accidental. Nothing Meghan does is accidental. The post promoted her 2024 Sauvignon Blanc fruit spreads and chocolates. It talked about lingering conversations, backyard dinners, thoughtful gifts. And it landed in feeds globally at the exact moment the phrase, Meghan Markle returns to UK, was trending across every major platform. This was a calculated commercial ambush. And it tells you everything about where American Riviera Orchard actually stands right now.
And some people around him know it. Meghan has no shame. She has no shame. She is trying to sell that expiring jam, and she is desperate. I mean, it's already bad enough that the woman has done, a lot of things not having been pressured by expiring jams. Imagine how desperate she is going to be now trying to sell expiring jams and products. With this invitation now, she will do any and everything. She is trying to not drown in this whole product that she has that is going down. She is, I think, on the brink of even a bankruptcy they're talking about, because there's warehouses of these products that are going to expire. And so this invitation, I think, comes at a good time for her to try to maximize sales around, royalty, true royalty. And that's what's pretty scary about it. I think it's not going to be a good thing for the king.
Absolutely. And you know where Catherine gets...
Here's what the mainstream media isn't telling you. Those warehouses, they're real. The product that launched to enormous fanfare, the jam that was supposed to redefine Meghan's post, royal brand as a lifestyle mogul, the spreads that were gifted to celebrities who then promoted them on social media as though they'd stumbled upon some artisanal treasure, that product is sitting aging, approaching sell by dates that no amount of royal adjacency can reverse. The brand needed a lifeline, and suddenly, Buckingham Palace handed her one. Now, before we get to the most explosive part of this story, and trust us, what King Charles's inner circle reportedly discussed about this visit will change how you see this entire situation. You need to understand something about the power dynamic at play inside the House of Windsor right now, because there are two kings in waiting, and they are not aligned. Charles Windsor has spent the twilight years of his reign trying to rewrite his legacy, after decades of public scandal. The collapse of his marriage to Diana, the Andrew catastrophe, the Harry and Meghan implosion. Charles wants peace. He wants reconciliation. He wants a family portrait without war underneath it. And according to sources close to the palace, there is a faction within Buckingham Palace itself, perhaps not Charles directly, but people in his orbit, who have been pushing for exactly this kind of olive branch to Harry and Meghan. William knows this, and William is appalled. Because William isn't looking at Harry and Meghan through the lens of family feelings. He's looking at the numbers. And those numbers, published by the Daily Telegraph, a pro-monarchy newspaper, not a tabloid, are devastating. Support for the British monarchy has dropped 11 percentage points in just 3 years.
Shows that support for the monarchy is actually at its lowest levels in 30 years. And this was reported by the Daily Telegraph, again a pro-monarchy newspaper. And the figures are stark, P. Dinah. The number of British people who still want the country to be a monarchy has dropped by 11 percentage points in the past 3 years. Well, who's been in charge over that period to 55%? The figure, which reflects diminishing support for the monarchy in younger age groups, is the lowest in 33 years of Ipsos polling on the royal family. The public reported a 69% approval rating in 1993, the year after Elizabeth II had spoken of her annus horribilis, which marked a devastating fire at Windsor Castle and the end of 3 of her children's marriages. It reached a high of 80% support at the time of the late Queen's 2012 Diamond Jubilee, after which it dropped gradually to 60%.
It now sits at 55%. That is the lowest level in 33 years of Ipsos polling. Among 18 to 34-year-olds, support has collapsed from 74% in 2013 down to just 33% today. 1/3. That is the generation William will need to carry the monarchy forward. And right now, they are walking away. William has a theory about why, and Harry and Meghan are central to it. The racism allegations from the Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary, the book, the relentless campaign that painted the royal family as cold, cruel, and systemically bigoted. Every one of those bombs detonated publicly on international platforms took support with it when it exploded. And now, with the monarchy at its most vulnerable moment in a generation, Charles wants to welcome the people who lit those fuses back through the front door. William's position? Absolutely not.
Coming back, then you're also looking at it getting, I think, more negativity attached to it, because Meghan and Harry have never apologized about the racist comments. I think that's like part of it as well. And that's just, Harry and Meghan being allowed to, come back in and contribute more to the negativity that they've already put out there about the monarchy. And more young people perhaps even, looking at what has been said by Harry and Meghan and, their whole racist award that they got, fueling that even further. Because just because Meghan and Harry are coming doesn't mean they're going to have good things to say about the monarchy when they leave. So you're inviting even potentially more negativity about the monarchy on your own invitation, right? Because there's no guarantee, or they're not having to sign some NDA, right? So you're more than likely fueling even more.
But here's where it gets darker. Because it's not just Harry and Meghan that William is fighting. Someone is actively working to undermine him from within the media landscape. And the evidence is hiding in plain sight on the pages of what is supposed to be a pro-monarchy newspaper. The Mail on Sunday recently ran a hit piece on Prince William, a worksheet accusation, sourced to a man named Norman Baker, a former Liberal Democrat MP who is, by his own account, a Republican, a man who wants to dismantle the monarchy entirely, and they let him take the pages of a supposed royalist publication to count William's public engagements and declare him lazy. The numbers they used. William carried out 57 events between January and June of this year. Charles managed 76. Princess Anne led with 100. But here is what they didn't mention. William carried out those duties while managing a household where his wife, Catherine, Princess of Wales, was still recovering from a cancer diagnosis that shook the world. He was a father, a caregiver, a man holding his family together while simultaneously holding the future of the monarchy in his hands. They counted events like clicks on a scoreboard, with zero acknowledgement of what was happening inside that family. And a Republican got to write the article. Someone wanted that story published. Ask yourself who benefits from William looking weak in worksheet right now. Ask yourself who benefits from Charles appearing more active, more engaged, more willing to extend grace to Harry and Meghan. Ask yourself who benefits from the next King of England looking like he isn't doing enough. Now contrast all of this, the mercantile chaos, the palace intrigue, the media warfare, with what Catherine, Princess of Wales, did last week. She wrote an essay, a personal, quietly powerful essay about love in the digital age, about childhood, about the importance of real connection over performed sentiment. It was published, discussed, and celebrated without a brand deal attached to it, without a product code, without a summer wine recommendation. And tucked inside that essay, according to sources close to the princess, was a very deliberate message aimed directly at the contrast between genuine love and commodified emotion. She wrote about love that is quiet and unconditional, built on time and patience, the joy found in ordinary things. And in the same breath, she specifically distinguished that from over-sentimental and romantic gestures. The same week, Meghan sent a newsletter encouraging her followers to gift chocolates and wine as expressions of love. Catherine didn't name her. She didn't have to. The timing, the language, the contrast. It was surgical.
Absolutely. And you know where Catherine gets it so right, P. Dinah? She knows how to subtly separate herself from Meghan and what Meghan is doing. And I think she's biting back in a brilliant way. So you probably know that last week she penned this personal essay about the need for love and genuine human connection as children battle an increasingly digital world. And it's, of course, a very important thing. And what I like about it is that she doesn't preach in the same way that we see Meghan and Harry preach. Oh, everything should be banned. It's not about that. What she's talking about is that it is vital to preserve the spirit of childhood alongside healthy development. Childhood is foundational in developing a healthy balance between mind, body, and spirit. But children are not simply learners of information.
This is how the Princess of Wales fights. Not with press releases, not with brand partnerships, with grace, precision, and devastating restraint. And somewhere in Montecito, you can be certain the message was received. Here's where things stand today, and why the next few weeks could define the future of the British monarchy for decades. King Charles is reportedly still moving forward with the idea of a royal return for Harry and Meghan. A visit that would bring the Sussex children to British soil, and that would gift Meghan another news cycle, another wave of royal adjacency, and another commercial opportunity at the precise moment her business desperately needs one. William is opposed, and his opposition is not petty. It is strategic, it is evidenced, and it is built on something Charles has not yet fully reckoned with. The monarchy's approval rating among young people is in free fall, and every concession to Harry and Meghan without accountability feeds the narrative that the institution has no standards, no memory, and no spine. There's also something nobody has mentioned yet. If Harry and Meghan visit and there is no NDA, no formal conditions, no binding agreements about what comes after, what is to stop another book, another interview, another Netflix production where the warm smiles of a royal reunion become the setup for another calculated betrayal? Nobody at Buckingham Palace is talking about that publicly. But behind closed doors, those questions are being asked. And the answers are not reassuring. The first transparency move in royal history is coming. Charles and William revealing their personal tax contributions. A historic moment. A genuine attempt to modernize. But even that gesture risks being drowned out by the noise of the Sussex return, by warehouse jam, by summer wine ads engineered to ride the coattails of a family's pain. The palace tried to keep this quiet. The brand deal told a different story. So here is the question nobody in the establishment wants to answer out loud. If a woman can turn a family reconciliation into a marketing campaign before the reconciliation even happens, what exactly does that say about the nature of the reconciliation? And if the King of England cannot protect the institution from being used as a commercial backdrop by the very people who publicly accused it of racism, who is really in control of the crown? Subscribe to Snapcraze Hub right now. Because the files we're still waiting on, the palace communications that haven't been released, the commercial contracts tied to this visit that no one is supposed to know about. We're coming for all of it. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and don't you dare look away.